ahead on Tuesday, ancient green goddesses with out-of-date equipment will be pressed into service to do the job of modern fire engines. And many people will ask, will we be safe? The firefighters themselves admit that people may well die. In a unique experiment, Chris Choi now puts the green goddesses to the test.
The mighty green goddess, impressive auto technology, at least for its day. But that was a long time ago. Commuting in from the 1950s, this is what we'll all be relying on if the strike goes ahead next week. An old-timer, designed in an era kind of reminiscent of Dad's army days. Today's engine is in an altogether different league. It's equipped to tackle fire, smoke, chemicals and crashes. Spotting the difference is not so tough. It can be a difference between life and death.
Speed is perhaps the most important quality of any emergency vehicle, but the Green Goddess is a little, well, pootling. Its top speed is just 55 miles an hour, so for more pressing engagements, for example, a burning building, you may be a lot better off placing your faith in the modern version. It does 70 miles an hour fully loaded, and that increased speed can reduce response times and save more lives.
I think it's like comparing a Morris station with a Jaguar. They come from a totally different era. They're capable of different things. One is a very reliable vehicle. The other one can do any basic tasks.
Pretty grim then, that's going to be the defence.
It is a grim situation that we're in, and the vehicles and the equipment that's being given to the military can only be used for very, very basic, what we would call first aid firefighting.
And to prove the point, we set an experimental fire. Remarkably, the way blazes would be fought in a strike has changed little since the 70s, but can the doddery green goddess hack it? First we try its hose. Good job, this is only an experiment. This is what happens when the modern water jet kicks in. A deluge. The reservoir tanks, pressure and pumps are what firefighters depend on. The soldiers won't have it, so neither will we if we're caught in a fire on strike days. And just to hammer the point home, our producer talked me into an extreme demonstration of the firepower problem.
The Green Goddess water jet is far beyond your average garden hose, but it's less looking, frankly, a little Alan Titchmarsh by its modern equivalent. This thing certainly does not pussyfoot around. It's got 10 times the firepower, the kind of water pressure that can really save lives in an emergency.
Uncomfortable, but not enough of a jolt to get firefighters to release equipment in strikes. I think the issue that's losing you a lot of support is your equipment. Why can't you just let the soldiers use this stuff and therefore save the lives that they need to?
The range of equipment that we carry on a modern fire appliance is, it takes 14 weeks to be trained to use, and then takes up to 2 years for everybody to become proficient in that use.
Well look, 14 weeks isn't long. You do have separate training facilities, training vehicles. Why don't you give the military access to that now? It's going to save lives.
Well, I don't know that it would save lives, because it's not
bound to, surely. I mean, they can't go into bat with those green goddesses. There's virtually nothing to them.
Military personnel, for all the good intentions, are not trained as firefighters. So we have taken the decision not to issue equipment for the military to use.
A worrying decision, because you don't have to look far to see how the green goddesses kit literally falls short.
If, like this woman, you find yourself anything above the second story, well, this is important information. You see, just like me, the technologically geriatric Green Goddess isn't very good at heights. Its 35-foot ladder may look pretty impressive on the window cleaner's round, but if you're stranded at, say, the third story, you better hope your rescuers come equipped with the modern 45-foot version.
Which unfortunately won't be happening on strike days.
At least when we arrive at an incident, we have a range of ladders on top of our vehicles. The Green Goddess will have the one 35-foot ladder, and if that doesn't reach, then they have no other ladder to use.
The implications of that are horrendous, aren't they? I mean, they don't have a fighting chance.
No, the military have a difficult task in front of them. They have basically been trained to do very limited firefighting operations, and they cannot be expected, with the level of training they've had, to be able to do the same sort of tasks that a professional firefighter would do.
In 1977, soldiers provided strike cover. 25 years on, service personnel are preparing to do exactly the same. Anyone can see that their equipment, even their clothing, will be pretty much the same too. This is a modern firefighter's tunic. It's flame resistant. In fact, it's made of the same material as worn by Formula One drivers. This, on the other hand, is what the soldiers will be sporting. Yes, it's casual, even a little fashionable. Sadly, it's about as flame-proof as a barbecue briquette. Not only do they burn, they also melt right into the skin. We had a close look at the uniform that the soldiers will be wearing. I mean, that's not going to offer the slightest bit of fire protection, is it?
With the military are very well aware of this. They do not have the same level of protection that firefighters have, and therefore their range of operations is limited by that. And they are not expecting military personnel to go into burning buildings.
It's pretty chilling to hear you say that the soldiers know that they can't go into the burning buildings, because people could be trapped in those burning buildings. There aren't enough backup teams really to cover the whole country. This really is chilling.
Yes, I guess it is. They do not have the protection to permit them going in. And if they did go in, they themselves could become casualties, and that has to be avoided at all costs.
Daunting statistics show this is where you're most likely to need a firefighter. What they need for car smashes is rescue gear that makes cutting through metal like snipping toenails. Alright, so first, the good news. These are so very effective, they're known as the jaws of life. Now, the bad news, soldiers aren't trained to use them, like these guys. That means there'd be just 59 teams with them to cover the whole country, instead of the usual tens of thousands of firefighters with them. And that is going to worry motorists right across Britain. Every day there are 105 road accidents. Strike days will be no different. Nothing could save the driver of a car which careered off this road near Blackpool, but there was also a passenger on board. His legs were shattered, his spleen, liver and kidneys badly damaged as the car rolled.
I was pinned inside the car. It took the fire service and all their equipment to cut me out. I think they did it within the hour. Well, I feel very lucky that they weren't on strike on the night of my accident, because were they to have been, I wouldn't be sat here now. I owe my life to the fire service and the training that they've received and the equipment they used to cut me out of the car.
And now the danger of strikes putting accident victims at increased risk is seriously dividing the fire service.
This could lead to a situation where, if it's necessary to cut people out of car accidents, then the ambulances may have to bring surgeons with them, and the surgeons may have to amputate limbs in order to get people out of car crashes. Now, we think that's totally unacceptable, and from the point of view of retained firefighters, it would be very difficult for us to face up to the people in our community if that was to happen.